What's up guys, it's your boy DS, and today I'm going to be showing you guys my level 30 Sorcerer build guide. Now obviously after I talk about all these things, I will be showing you guys some gameplay, so you guys know I'm not just talking, but I actually want to show you guys exactly how it all plays out. So starting out, let's go ahead and look at our skill tree so we can go through everything that you guys want to be getting, and then, you know, making your way towards. Now like I said, I am level 30. If you guys are under this, you won't be able to get everything yet, and if you're over this, you'll obviously be able to get more, and I'll cover all of this. So, starting out, looking at the first thing you want to get, I'm going to be honest, in the very early stages of this build, basically levels 1 through 15 to 20, you might want to look to get Spark, and the only reason is because Spark is long ranged, which will basically allow you to kite enemies and not have to engage with them. But what this build is going to want you to use is going to be Arc Lash. Now, like I said, Arc Lash is a melee move. You have to be right in front of the enemies. So just be wary that you may not be able to use this for the first like 10 to 15 levels until you get later on and get some defensive abilities. But anyway, you want to be using Arc Lash. You only need 1 point into it. You'll obviously put more points into it later, but for right now, you only need 1 point. On top of getting Arc Lash, you do want to get the Enhanced Arc Lash, and then you also want to get the Glinting Arc Lash. Now, I'm telling you guys up front, this is going to be a crit build and a stun build. So the crits are going to allow you to stun, and the stuns are going to allow you to do more damage, and vice versa, so it all meshes really well together. Every 10th time you use an Arc Slash, you will stun all the enemies in the area. So that's going to be really good automatically. But on top of that, if you crit, you will basically swipe an additional time, which is going to give you increased damage, give you extra swipes, and everything like that. Very nice. Then on top of that, the Glinting Arc Slash is basically going to reduce all of your cooldowns if you're hitting a stunned enemy, which, like I said, this build is based around stuns. You're going to be hitting stunned enemies a lot. Now moving on, once you guys get to your core spells, there are a couple of things to look out for. Number one, you guys can pick which either of these two that you want. It is up to you. I personally like Chain Lightning. I like that it bounces between enemies. That's just me personally. I also got the upgrade Enhanced Chain Lightning that gives me increased crit chance. Now, if you guys like Charge Bolts better, you can use Charge Bolts. If you're picking this, you only need to spec into this. And the reason why is because this right here, whenever your Chain Lightning bounces off you, it deals extra damage. This will only occur if there's one enemy. So either bosses or there's one mob. So this is not going to happen most of the time, so you don't have to worry about that. And this one is not that good because we're not going for a crackling energy build. So you don't need to worry about that. So anyways, you want to get one of these two, and then you also want to get one rank up into Fireball. And the reason why is because this is going to actually be what you use for your enchantment. So you want to make sure you get one rank of Fireball, and we'll talk about the enchantment specifically a little bit later on. But now that you guys have got all that, I want to go down to here. As you guys see right here, you do want to get one rank into Teleport, and then you also want to get Enhanced Teleport, and you want to get Shimmering Teleport. Enhanced Teleport is just going to allow you to use Teleport more often, and then Shimmering Teleport is going to give you damage reduction after you teleport, which is going to be really good because you're going to be teleporting out of enemies quite a lot with this build. Moving on to the next thing that you want to get Ice Armor, and the reason why is because Ice Armor is basically going to allow you to stay in melee range with that Arc Lash, since if you didn't have this on while you're in melee range, you'd just be taking damage you didn't want to take. And we'll also be getting Enhanced Ice Armor, which is going to give you mana regeneration, which is really nice whenever you have this on. And we're going to be getting Shimmery Ice Armor, so anytime enemies hit you while you have your Ice Armor up, they have a chance to be frozen, which is just really nice because it's going to be basically keeping the enemies off of you and stopping you from taking damage. Now, on top of those upgrades, you also want to get Elemental Attunement. Critical strikes have up to a 5, 10, or 15% chance to reset the cooldown of one of your defensive skills. It can happen once every 10 seconds. This is going to be so good because realistically, if you're playing the build right, you're only going to be resetting your Ice Shield, right? The only time you want to teleport is if your Ice Shield is down and you need to get out of danger. Your Ice Shield, you basically want to be popping whenever you're in combat at any given moment. And as far as the teleport, you only want to be using teleport if your Ice Shield's down and you literally need to get out of danger. That's the only time you're going to be using your teleport opposed to your Ice Shield. So this is basically going to reset your Ice Shield over and over, which is going to be really, really nice. Moving on to the next part, I want to be talking about your Conjuration skill. A lot of people like to go Hydra. If you want to go Hydra, that's completely up to you. I like to go Lightning Spear for a couple of reasons. Number one, whenever you do pop it, it does, you know, target enemies and things like that, which is nice. But whenever you get into the upgrades, the first one, it will basically allow you to critically strike with the lightning spear, which is just going to feed into the crit build. And then the next upgrade right here, lightning spear stuns enemies for 2.02 seconds when critically striking. So not only are you going to be critting with this, you are also going to be stunning with this. So this is going to feed into the build that we're already trying to make. So you guys can realistically go Hydra if you want to. I know Hydra got nerfed pretty heavily, so I'm not even sure how good it is now, but I'm going to tell you right now, lightning spear has been really good for me. I highly recommend it. I believe this is what you guys should be going if you wanted to do this build. Now, the next thing I want to talk about after that is going to be align the elements. Throwing a point into this is going to be really nice because whenever you're fighting any enemies that are elites, bosses, or basically anything that's not like a small mob, this is going to be giving you damage reduction for every second that you're not hit, up to 40%. This is going to be really nice because let's say you get hit in between your shield. This will basically mitigate a lot of the damage. So you won't end up getting one shot or two tapped or anything like that because you have stacks into this. And this is going to stack all the way up to 40% anytime you're not taking damage. So this is going to be really good for in between those spaces when you don't have your shield up. Now that we're done talking about all of that, I do want to come down here, and you're actually not going to be getting a mastery skill, but you are going to be speccing into some of the mastery points. So, like I said, you're not going to be getting any of the mastery skills, but what you want to do is you want to put 1 point into this, and you're not going to be using crackling energy, but you do need a point into this so that we can get down to here. As you can see right here, every time you stun an enemy, you deal 337 lightning damage to them. You do want to max this out. You can put 1 point in it early and max it out later, but this is going to be really good because you're literally stunning all of the time. Now, moving down to your ultimate ability. Obviously, the choice is going to be unstable currents. This is going to be so good because whenever you pop this ult, for the next 10 seconds, anytime you use a shock skill, a random core, conjuration, or mastery shock skill will also cast. Now, the cool thing about this is this applies to your basic attacks. So you don't have to use any of your cooldowns to proc this. You can pop your ult and literally just basic attack over and over and over and over, and you will be proccing this non-stop. It's going to be so good with this build. Now, on top of that, you do want to get this first upgrade right here, Prime Unstable Currents, because this is going to increase your attack speed while your ultimate is active. And this also feeds into the basic attacking over and over and over so that you can proc your ultimate as fast as possible. Now, moving on to the next points, we want to talk about the coursing currents right here. Hitting enemies with shock skills increases your critical strike chance by 3%, resets upon getting a critical hit. This will basically guarantee that you're going to be critting eventually. No matter what you do, even if you don't crit the first hit or the second hit or however many, you are going to be getting some crits in. And this is going to feed into the crit build and the stun build. Very, very nice right there. Now, you do want to put 1 point into this, just so you can get to the last one, but enemies deal 5% less damage for 5 seconds after being critically struck. If you're critting all the time, you're always going to be taking less damage. Very, very good mitigation for your character. And then looking at this one, convulsions, shock skills have up to a 9% chance to stun enemies for 3 seconds. This applies to everything. So your basic attacks included, it'll have a 9% chance to stun enemies. There's no cooldown. You can keep stunning enemies over and over. So this is going to be really nice as well. Now, like I said, this is for level 30. If you guys have more points, you obviously will have more options. If you guys have less points, you have to work what you want. But let's talk about the next 2 points. Let's say you get to level 32 because you only need 1 point here to reach here. The one you want to get is going to be the Veer's Mastery, and the reason why is because close enemies take 10% increased damage from your shock skills and deal 20% less damage to you. Critical strikes increase these bonuses by 25% for 3 seconds. You are going to be close to enemies because your basic attack is melee range. So this is going to allow you to do even more damage and take even less damage. It's a very, very good skill, and you need to make sure you get this once you are able to. This one's not going to be near as good because this deals with crackling energy, and this is not a crackling energy build. Now that we're done talking about all the skill points and everything you guys, want to be going into, I want to talk about your 2 enchantments that you guys want to be basically using. The first one is going to be Fireball Enchantment, and this is whenever you kill an enemy, they explode in a fireball for 50% of its damage. Seeing as you're going to be in melee range of these enemies, they are all going to be grouped up. So anytime you kill an enemy, you will be basically getting the explosion off. And if you kill multiple enemies, multiple explosions, this synergizes really well with this build. I highly recommend you guys use this enchantment for this build. Now, the second one, which you get at level 30, is going to be the Arc Lash enchantment. And this, honestly, is one of the best things for this build. This pretty much brings the build all together. Now, if you guys want to use Arc Lash enchantment first and Fireball enchantment second, you can. It's up to you, but you want to use both of them. When you use a cooldown, enemies around you are stunned for 0.5 seconds. This is any cooldown ability. So whenever you pop your Ice Shield, they get stunned. Whenever you guys pop your Conjuration, they get stunned. If you guys pop your Teleport, they get stunned. And remember, I was telling you guys how you're going to be teleporting out of enemies. You'll teleport out, they all get stunned. You can start doing auto attacks, getting off all of these different things. So there's going to be so many different stuns in this build. There's going to be so many different critical strikes in this build. You're going to be dishing out tons of damage, and you're going to be stunning enemies so much that they basically can't do anything but sit there. So now that I'm done talking about everything you guys want to do for this build, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a lot of what it looks like. And like I said, you will be stunning enemies a lot. You basically can stand there for a lot of this as long as you're getting your stuns off, which you should be doing. So we're going to go ahead and walk in here, pop our shield. We can pop our ult. And we're going to be mowing these enemies down. And as you can see, the boss, he's stunned. And he's just sitting there stunned. You can pop you a cooldown if you want to. Pop you a teleport, whatever you want to do. Stunned again, and you're literally just standing here getting off your damage. It's going to be such a good build once you get all of these things to come together. As you guys see, very easy build to, master. It's not going to be anything too hard or difficult to do. I literally walked in there, stood there, and stunned everybody, one-shot all the enemies, and even the boss couldn't do anything. He had to basically stand there and just take my damage. As you guys see, I will be fighting another enemy. Pop your shield, pop your ult. All these enemies are going to be just getting stunned. They're going to be CC'd. They're not going to be able to do anything to you. As you guys see, I just bursted him so fast with my ult because I was auto-attacking so fast that so many other abilities were coming out at the same time. And then because he got stunned, I was dishing out tons of more damage. This build is actually insane. So there you guys have it. That's going to be it for this video. Be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Comment down below. Tell me what you guys did in the comment section. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.